From diving with real sharks, to weeks of water survival training, and actors almost passing out from exhaustion, filming The Meg was a much bigger challenge than anticipated. Its sequel, The Meg 2: The Trench, isn't taking any shortcuts either. So how were these stunts shot? And were the actors in any real danger? Let's dive into the details. Welcome to Xplained. After Steven Spielberg's 1975 thriller Jaws, and insane real-life shark encounters like this, our fascination with the ocean's deadliest predator has only gotten bigger. Most films focus on the great white, but The Meg introduces audiences to its prehistoric ancestor. Like most movies set on water, these were notoriously difficult to shoot, and a lot of considerations had to be made while filming. First was the water survival training for the actors. Filming in water for hundreds of hours was physically and mentally draining. A lot of the actors weren't comfortable being in water at all, and some of them, including the child actors, learned to swim specifically for this movie.
I am so tired. I'm exhausted.
Jason Statham, on the other hand, was ready for almost anything. And that's because before his acting career, Jason Statham was a professional diver. He even took part in the 1990 Commonwealth Games.
England's Jason Statham.
To make sure the actors were safe during filming, all of them were put on a water safety course for a few weeks where they learned survival techniques.
We did a little bit of underwater work in Leavesden Studio, so they had to just do their basic diving instructor stuff. Obviously, on top of the water, it wasn't so bad. We was on boat, and then everything you see underwater was done dry for wet again at Leavesden Studio. So it's actually, most of them are on cable, so it looks like they're floating, and then we digitally put the water around them.
Next was filming in open water. To make the action scenes feel real, they filmed for a month at sea. Parts of The Meg 2 were filmed in Thailand, but the first movie was filmed in the waters around New Zealand, and it was pretty epic. One of them was the scene where Jason tags the shark, and this was shot in the Hauraki Gulf. Obviously, he wasn't tagging a real shark. To prepare himself to shoot in open water, Jason dived with the real sharks to learn their behavior and get over his fears. To make filming easier, they constructed a rig off the side of a boat, made it strong enough to hold a crane, fitted the boat with special cameras, and then they dragged Jason through the sea. Filming in open water made a lot of these scenes more realistic, but it had quite a few limitations as well.
So the biggest challenges filming at sea is we was doing a chase. It was a sort of shark jet ski chase. The water's always changing, and even when you're just sitting there, like you do your take, you're having a conversation with them. I mean, while you're sitting there, your whole flotilla of boats sort of just turns around. So then you've got to realign yourself, make sure you're shooting in the right direction, the sun and all that sort of thing for shadows. So you're open to the elements of the weather then. So, one day you can have nice smooth sea, the next day you can have choppy sea and all that. So it does make it a bit more of a challenge.
Next was filming in studio tanks. To have a more controlled filming environment, they used studio tanks. The Meg 2 was reportedly filmed at the Warner Brothers studio in the UK. The Meg 1 used two massive tanks at the Camille Film Studios. The indoor underwater dive tank was huge. It was 18 meters wide and 5 meters deep. It held 1.2 million liters of water, and this could be heated to 32 degrees Celsius. The tank was used to film scenes like this where the shark cage is being attacked. A lot of prep went into it, and safety divers were nearby at all times. And though they were in a controlled environment, filming underwater was crazy and tiring.
You're tired already?
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm scared.
Because you're nervous.
I'm not scared of the water. I'm scared. Why do I feel tired?
Because you don't breathe enough.
The second tank was the outdoor ocean surface tank. This tank could hold 2.5 million liters of water, had a wave maker, and was surrounded by a massive green screen that was 70.6 meters long and 13 meters high. All of the remaining outdoor scenes were filmed here. The actors spent weeks in the tank.
This wasn't part of the job description. None of this was part of the job description. They failed to mention that part.
For that entire time, I got to the very end and I just, my body couldn't do it anymore, and I had to be like lifted out of the water by Jason and Rain for one of the scenes, and they were like, oh, that's your last take.
And besides the fatigue from all the swimming and being pulled into the water, it was difficult to react to a shark they couldn't see.
All right, so let's restage it and shoot again.
It's hard because you cannot talk, but you can't communicate with the cameraman. You need to be able to hold your breath, stay calm.
Jason Statham being pulled underwater was filmed here as well, and they used a winch system to pull him at a certain speed. They also built these really cool, fully submersible gliders and shot with them too. Last of all is the VFX and animatronics. Obviously, there are a lot of visual effects in these films. The high-speed underwater chases with the gliders were filmed against a giant green screen. Jason Statham's body was scanned and intricately detailed so they could create a digital double for certain scenes as well. But the most challenging part was designing Megalodon. Historical data like this Megalodon tooth fossil next to the tooth of a great white shark shows just how massive it was. It was estimated to be between 60 to 80 feet long. That's almost as big as a blue whale, and it's a shark. So obviously, they couldn't build a full animatronic shark like they did with Jaws. The Meg in the movie was animated based on a great white, but they made it look a lot more prehistoric.
3 massive Megs and who knows what else have escaped the breach.
The coolest part was that they actually built the head of the shark and used it while filming some scenes. The size of this thing, the intricate detailing of the skin and the eyes, and the fact that it could open and close its mouth made it extremely real. They also built half a head, and this was used while filming the Meg breaching the surface of the water with Jason stabbing it in the eye. They even built a massive remote-controlled shark fin that was absolutely terrifying. They also built one of these little dinosaurs for the Meg too.
We had, there's these other sort of creatures, like lizards per se, and so we had sort of like a full-length version of that in a sort of polystyrene form, just so, you know, everyone could understand how big it was and all that. So
what's the scariest part about these films? Is the Kraken in the Meg 2 scarier than Megalodon itself? Tell us about it in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Xplained.